We have a B&K 120 multimeter. This was given to me by a friend. Meter looks in pretty nice shape. I'll let you take a close look at the face of this meter. Got a lot of scales in there, and also the bottom part. And all the switches work good. And we'll take a look now at the scales, starting here at 1.2 volt, 3 volt, 12 volt, 60 volt, 300 volt, and 600 volt, 1200 volt, and also 6000 volt. And you get those extra voltages by plugging your leads in over here at 1200 and 6000. I don't know if I'd want to measure anything at 6000, but maybe if I had the right leads it would be safe. And then for milliamps, you can go over here to 60 microamps, 300 microamp scale, 1.2 milliamps, 12 milliamps, 120 milliamps, 600 milliamps, and also it has a scale for 12 amps. And you get that by plugging your lead in down here. Then for resistance, you have a resistance of R times 1 over 10. What that means is if you got a reading of 20, you'd have to divide that by 10, which means you'd have 2 ohms. Then R times 1, R times 100, R times 1000, and R times 10,000. It's also got a transit mode. When you want to carry this thing around, I think it grounds out the leads. And it's also got an adjustment here for your ohms. I've already taken the screws out of the back. Take a look at the inside. You have here a 1.5 volt battery. This is the power that drives the top highest resistance measurements. And then back here you have another battery. What used to go in here was a 15 volt battery that also worked in hearing aids, and it was built back in the early 1900s up to the 1940s and probably into the 50s. You can't get them anymore, and you can't get 15 volt batteries that I'm aware of anywhere, so I had to put a few batteries together. I took a 12 volt battery like this, and then I took a 1.5 volt battery and piggybacked it to the end of that, and those two just slipped together like that inside of a piece of heat shrink tubing. Now that gave me 13.5 volts, and that would be enough actually to drive this, but I did want to get up there to 15 volts, and you can't put another one of these small batteries on the end. There's just not enough room. If you put 2 of these, they just won't fit in to this space they've got here, so you'd have to pick up a nice thin battery, something about that thin, only a lot less diameter, and you piggyback that on the end and you put it right in here. And I'll measure that voltage for you just to show you that you can do it. And we've got 15.6 volts, and that's just about what you want. Plenty of adjustment with that, with those first 2 lower ranges. The switches are all work real good, as I've said. It's pretty clean in here. I do have a kind of electrolytic here that looks like a 0.1 microfarad and a 600 volt. I might replace that. And everything else checks out pretty good except for the R times 100 scale. That's off, and I think a resistor's gone high, so I'm going to have to check it out somewhere in here. I've got a resistor that is burnt or blackened or something. It might even be that one right there, but we'll take a look at that later. Put that back on. Just put the 4 screws in when you're done. You want to put it together. And here we've got this switch. Goes from normal, reverse, and AC. I did also pick up the manual for this. And here we've got the B&K Precision Parts List and Schematic Manual. And we also got the B&K 120 Operator's Manual. They were kind of expensive, but I decided to go ahead and do it anyway, just because I like the meter so well. I actually plan on using it here for a lot of my boat anchor stuff. Well, That's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed this multimeter demonstration, a little explanation. Get a chance to pick one of these up, I'd sure encourage you to do it.